Hello guys, how you guys doing? Alright. We're gonna be doing this. Okay. Oops, what happened there? My bad, sorry about that guys. I almost forgot to do this. Drat. Had everything done but the pop out. We'll get that pop out going. Come on. Sometimes computers lag and it's irritating, but you know what? Remember, it's during those times that try a person. So let's do it to it. Let's see here. Just picked up a pawn, so we should be winning this pretty soon. I'm thinking he might go b4. Oh. There we go. Still up a whole pawn. He's a world of hurt. We got him. Oh, shoot. Wow. I missed that. That was a close one. I made a mistake back here. Let me see. Let's see here. Okay, I gotta try that again. We'll give this guy a shot. Alright, so let's see if we can get to London. let's see here. Thinking about castling next. We'll see what happens, what he does. There we go. This should be an easy KO now. We almost have him knocked out. 1-2 punch. Almost. We're almost there, guys. Almost. And we got, this is, we almost got him mated. If he takes here, we have a mate there, so he can't take. Okay, I'm just winning all the pieces here. Let me see, what could he actually play? If he takes, oh, so he takes there, okay. Gotta have guts to play this move here. It's like, wow. I don't know if he has anything at this point. No, he's got less time run because there's no real way he can win. Okay, let's go over our London system now. Start kicking it out. Good job, guys. You know what? I know you guys saw all those moves too, so you guys are stepping it up. Gotta give you a high five there. A4, D5, knight F3, and then just the Leningrad Dutch or the Dutch defense. Actually, believe it's the Leningrad, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they just call it the Dutch. C3, the standard setup, London Dutch. H5. There is if you don't play E5, there's also another move, which is kind of, it gives black compensation because you don't want to destroy the top of your pyramid. This destroys the top. You could actually do this, but it kind of destroys the top of your pyramid, like Simon Williams. Oh, come on, what's going on? Sorry, guys. Come on, there we go. Like what Simon Williams says, you don't want to destroy the top. Because that's what holds this is like your keystone in a pyramid. You don't want to destroy that. We know who the head of we know who the cornerstone is, truly. Yep. That's it, Jesus Christ. Okay, A4, A4, let me see. Oh, knight e4. B3. B3, and then E5. So okay, so black's coming smashing down through. Wham. Gotcha. And then H3. This offers black too much compensation. He wouldn't have been able to do F5 or E5 if this pawn was here, because we could have just taken it. Kind of, he would have had an isolated pawn on D5, but because we took and fractured the our cornerstone, he was able to do E5 and then just totally dominate the center. And that's, in my opinion, that's enough compensation for everything, all his last pawn. That's a ton more compensation that was given. There's no need to do that. It's kind of a little too radical in my opinion. Just keep it nice and calm. Keep it slow. Just go E5, knight E5, knight H5, trying to go for the bishop. First you take, takes, and then at this point you have a couple choices. This was actually played by the author in 1983. He played it in the U.S. Open. He remembered walking by a board around this time. White played this move. Basically, I don't think it was him. I'm sorry. It was an opponent. One of another board that was playing this, and so he went, "Wow, that looks pretty, greedy kind of setup." So he kind of got the game. And he was thinking that sometimes when you're waiting for your opponent to move at a table, you get up, walk around, get your legs flexing and stuff, so get the blood flowing. And sometimes you can look at other games, and he looked at another game, and this was another game, and he wrote down what he thought in his mind, which was, "Wow, taking another pawn." So he says the interesting other setup would have been bishop to E5, which leads to a position where bishop takes, D takes, and F4. F4 and E3, E4, F4, E4. And it's kind of an awkward setup, but it's okay for white. It's not a big advantage, because if he takes here, then you do have an advantage, because his pawns are all fractured, and it's yuck, yuck, yuck to the max. Yuckity, yuck, yuck. So that's kind of why E4 is pushed to undermine this. So more likely he's going to play E6. That'll be the kind of setup you get. So that this is a little in his mind when he was a younger person. He said that this kind of reminded him of being a little too greedy, and it was not very. You get material, but you look what you lose. So you lose the knight takes. But I think a better option would have been at this point. Remember what we talked about before? E5 would have actually been better here. Our opponent got a little too take happy, and that does happen in some games. You'll get an opponent who just, without thinking, takes a pawn or a piece or something. Don't do that yourself, okay? Make sure that you keep an eye on, our hands sometimes want to do something. Don't do that. Make sure that you think before you move. Otherwise you're playing reactive chess, or like today what Maurice Ashley says, it's not Aikido. Actually it is Aikido for your opponent, because you're now reacting and doing what they want, which would be taking. That's what white wants. He wants the knight to take. E5 is playing black's games, not white's game. So that bishop to H2, E4. Now this totally locks and squeezes. This puts a pressure on a vice on white. Now we're trying to attack the knight. F4, wham, exclam. That's a really strong move in my opinion. I like that move. E takes F. E takes F. Knight takes. And so now he's attacking our bishop. Boy, we're getting pretty much pummeled, and I don't like that one bit. Rook takes. And knight b3. Was it worth a pawn for this? I don't think so. I don't think it was worth a pawn. That's just my opinion. Queen g5. Oh man, look at this. Wow. It's like you just open the floodgates of a dam. The dam's breaking, and in comes the flood waters and just washes everything away. Man alive, that's what's happening at this moment. He's got to hold everything together. There's this. Now that's a weakness. Wow. This is getting pretty intense. He's having to weaken his structure to get anything. Black probably has some compensation with the bishop here and pressure down the F file. But I would still take white with the extra pawn and the grip on d4. Yeah, I agree with the author. I would still take white here, just because he has one thing that black doesn't have: the extra pawn. So what black's going to have to prove that what he has is worth the loss of one soldier. And as far as we know, at this moment, not so much. So this could have been what happened if if black hadn't reacted and did that. He might have been able to have some sort of compensation. E takes. Queen c7. Queen a4. Let me see. Queen a4. Bishop f6. G3 to shut the position down. E5. F takes, and then F3. There's also a line here I was looking at. I was wondering what would happen if this. I know you're probably wondering the same thing. Supposedly it's a mistake, so it's a mistaken move. The follow-up would be king to d1. Bishop to f6. Queen f6. He gets his pawn back, but what is the consequences of that pawn? So you have to think about that. G4. Now we have potential expansion, and white's king looks safer. His pieces are well placed, and black's initiative is dead at this moment. We have a potential for a fork, with the next move being g5, because the knight protects. Well, not yet. We may have to prepare that with h4 and then g5. Then we'd have a fork. White has all the play here. All black's play. He got his pawn back. Whoop-de-doo. But guess what? Let's not party right now, because white's the one with the safer king. So you can't be happy unless you get some sort of advantage from it. And as far as we know, black did not get anything. So f4 was trying to undermine the pawn structure. G4, f3 exclam, and then b4. Now white's king, in this line it says the white's king must hang around here a while. There's actually a better move. Let me see here. A better try, which gets an exclam mark, is castle queenside, because there's really no reason to worry about walking into this pin. There's nothing that can hurt us. Nothing can hurt us at this moment. So f4, 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 4. Let's go after the pawn. Rook h to e1. We guard the pawn. Bishop takes. He won the pawn back. There we go. B. And so now our rooks are well placed, and we have really all the play. We control the open file, and this pawn potentially will be under fire. We have knight a3, a5, or knight d4. So we have a lot to play for here, guys. But this makes white's king stay in the center a little bit longer, and we don't want that to actually come to pass. We want to try to get our king safetied. Knight h4, rook b8. Now queen takes, pawn check. Now we're taking with check. Wham! King f1. Rook f6, then a4. You're thinking, what happens if rook to e1, right? You're thinking that might solve white's problem, but it actually doesn't. This actually loses for, it's not losing, it's a mistake. Queen takes check, king takes, rook takes rook, knight takes c. Takes here, there, f8, and knight takes c, rook takes the pawn, and the rook overpowers the 7th rank, outweighs white's extra piece. So yes, white gets an extra piece, but the rook is so powerful because of this pawn stopping here. What we'd have to do is make our rook. Our rook would actually have to come up to h2 just to save the rook. Otherwise, he has that. So I don't know. I kind of still, in my opinion, I still prefer. Well, not really, because his bishop guard's there. Oh wow. Yeah, it is somewhat long. Yeah. Ouch. Yeah, if we move our rook up, it's mate in 2. Oh boy, that's so sad. So close, so close. We just can't win we can't win a piece though. Okay, let's see here. Right there, rook takes E F. The position is very uncomfortable for white here. The author says that white's almost losing. This is almost a losing position, close to losing. C2 was an idea. It keeps the queen out. So rook to d1 was probably the best of the ideas to hold this position together. So let me see. So rook, gotcha. D1 exclam. I had to make sure I was following right in my notes, guys. Sorry about the silence there. Then you have e6, which black gets an exclam because he's not sucking in to white's deception, as they would say. King g1, queen g3. That's an exclam. Excuse me. Ooh. E3. King F1. Rook F2. King G1. It takes the pawn. Oh wow, windmill. No, I will. Yeah, windmill. Nobody likes to walk right into a windmill. It's King F1. Yeah, this is just a mess with their mind. King F2, King G1. Let's see, did I already do that? Let me see here. And it's perpet. So White has too much counterplay if he was to take. There's just too much for White. So black. This would bail White out, black out into a perpet. So one small step could this could actually save White's life here. So it's like, wow. Queen D2. Exclam. Bishop A6 is also an exclam idea. Black gets a huge attack if he goes down the line A6, King G1, Queen D2, Rook D1, Queen takes C3, so we win a pawn, G5, and that gets an exclam mark. As it's like you're giving him a pawn, but not really. You're pulling him away from the protection of this, so that you have a potential perpet. Rook F, E6, King H8, and then Queen takes bishop. Rook E8. He says it's doubtful whether White can actually survive in this position with the rooks about to be connected. Potentially you have something like that coming down. Black has all of his pieces well prepared and ready for the 1-2 KO. So there's also that move. King check, F, E5 to protect the knight. Bishop takes pawn, B3, G6 to attack the queen. Takes the pawn check, H8, and rook to D1. This is the saddest state right here. Black blunders the game away. It's like, oh man. This is like horrible. He plays rook D2. It's like, whoa. So you had the guy in the neck lock, and then you loosen up for a second. Then he throws him over his back, and you're the one that gets pinned in the wrestling match. That's exactly what happened here. You could have just played one move. Rook A check. Bring your pieces in. There's no reason to rush, my friends. Don't rush. Then E3, and now this is when it gets scary for White, because the rook's under fire, and if we try to take, the pawn takes. So knight to e6. Bishop takes the rook. Queen takes. And rook to e2. Rook e2. Now there's going to be some problem with the knight. King f1. Rook e8. And white is helpless because we're gonna basically exchange and end up becoming a whole minor piece ahead in this line. But he played rook to d2, the only move that turns out to be losing. And he says all of a sudden everything is converted, and white balance now has 2 pawns. See, watch what happens here. Takes, and takes, and all of a sudden it's covered. White's covered, and white banks basically in his, if you want to think of pieces of pawns as, you know, your savings account. He basically put 2 more pawns in his savings account, and the king can reach g2 and dominate everything else in the end. So it's all over. One small move, the rook to d2. So rook takes d2, queen takes, knight takes, queen c3, king g2. Now the rook can run free, rook. Let me see here. Rook, okay. Queen e6, queen c, and of course you're wondering why not just take? Because you really can't. Because if you took here, I know what you're thinking. Just take, right? You get checkmated. So you got to be careful that you don't get yourself mated. So he plays there. He has to give the bishop up and a pawn. We don't really much mind. We're still 1 pawn up, guys. Bye bye. And so that's the whole idea on that. Be blessed. Okay, then rook e1, then e8. Okay, right here, black's busted here. There's nothing that black can actually do besides basically resign. It's getting close to the end. We have 3 reasons white's actually totally dominating. First reason, black's back rank is weakened. 2, the white's king and queen and knight team make a great team, because what happens is this knight could jump to any color. Like black, even if we trade off rooks and stuff, the only thing that black can do, his dark square bishop only stays on the dark square. The knight can go to the light square or the dark square at will. So that's why knights and queens teamwork are the best. Bishops and the bishop and the queen, not so much, because they're not as flexible. And 3, the c pawn is faster than black's a5 pawn. So in theory, we'll have, if he takes here, he doesn't do this, but if he did, we can actually win the bishop. So he can't do that. And what he does play is queen to c2 or c3, knight d g5, exclam, because we're trying to set up, if we can, for a potential smother mate. Knight check, and so he can't take the rook. The rook can't take the knight, and then of course I will let you guys take a second, work out smother mate for white. It's basically a mate in 3, I believe. Mate 3. So guys, write in the box if you guys kind of know what the move setup is. Write in the box what the move setup is. Okay, I know you guys solved it. Great work. Queen to e6 first. Rook takes. Knight check. He resigned here, but the combination would be this. So at this point, this is where, oops, I have to put a this right here, right there. This was the move, and so let's read the summary, and we'll get into some puzzles, and we'll keep pushing forward. Okay. Let's see, bishop c4, c4. Well, let me see. Gotta make sure I have bishop c4, where it is. Oh no, move 7. Bishop c4 can be met by d5. And he says that, this right here, the summary is, the Leningrad can be met by c5. This turns the game into a hyper-modern, of course we know, Stonewall. I hope did I do this one right? Hold on. Yeah, I think, how many moves was this game? Because I sometimes get my games all messed up every once in a while. Hold on, let me take a look, guys. 42, I think. 40, yeah, 40 exactly. So it's this one. Yeah. So in turn, we'll go back. This move, if you play f4 or c4, usually c5, d5 is played. That's the Stonewall, and it sometimes confuses our opponents when that's played. So you just got to keep that in your back pocket when you're playing it. So just keep that in your mind. This is kind of, if they try to throw the Dutch Leningrad at you, you can always on move 7 or move 6 play bishop c4 check and cause a little bit of havoc in his camp. Okay, well, with that, we're going to get on to our puzzles. I'll leave this puzzle with you. I'll be right back. So put in the box what you guys think the move is, and then we'll go over it. Alrighty, I'll be right back. A6, A7. Thinking that potentially we have rook f to b1, and the queen has only two spots to go to. So rook f b1, queen can either go to e7 or f8. So rook f b1, queen will say e7. So f b1, queen e7. Then we have a potential rook takes b7. So we have rook f b1, queen e7. Rook takes b7. King takes b7, queen takes b7. So if so rook takes b7. If king takes b7, we have queen takes a6 check. I'm not sure if we accomplish enough. I think we do. I think we'd have to take the knight at that point. Yeah, rook f. Oh. So he takes here. Okay, he takes there. Snap. That's my bad there. So we had that right on track. trying to see if there's two potential moves. There's queen G5, G6, check, king H1, and then bishop to G3 with the threat of mate on F. So you go here, here. You can't go here because he could stop it with the rook coming here. So here, king, bishop there, and then if rook comes over, you then can play a really sneaky bishop to F3, and then when the rook intercepts, then you bring the queen and checkmate. But you have to also remember there is a queen there, king moves, bishop up. There's potentially a actually there is no threat, is there? Because then even if he does that, you play there, he comes up. Oh, so check, king moves there, bishop takes. Okay. I don't understand why this doesn't work. What did I do? Why doesn't that work? Oh, I forgot the rook could defend that. Miscalculation there. That's okay though. Had the right idea, just miscalculated there. Let me see here. So queen going from E3 to C3. We'll play one, and then we'll get on to finishing that one up. I just gotta think on that for a second. Let's take a look while we're waiting for him to move. Let's see here. Okay. Thinking I can win. There's a bunch of ways to do this combo that he's setting up. So let's see here. Let's go back to our thing. Here, okay. Trying to figure out, see if I take queen takes g5. d5, then we have sorry, queen takes g5, knight takes takes, and then rook takes. But if we take here and queen takes, do we acquire anything? trying to get my bishop there, or potentially a rook here. Yeah, g4 is an interesting move. I agree with you on that. That would be an interesting move, but you don't want to allow for, if we play g4, you potentially could play queen to takes h3. That's the only problem. Okay, let's take a look at our puzzle. Oh man, what am I missing here? What am I missing? That should be the final death touch setup. Okay. Trying to see. I don't know if let's take a look to see what the beginning moves were. Thinking it might be e3. And then if pawn takes, if e3, pawn takes, queen takes, and if queen takes, then we grab that other knight on free. Let's give it a go. Excuse me. See, bishop takes knight. My idea was I don't understand why he didn't play there. I think it's because if he takes there, we pick up a piece. Let's see here. If we played here, he could just take bishop takes, knight takes, queen there. We takes and it takes, and white's up. So that doesn't work out. And if we take here, he takes there. So you gotta be careful how he takes there. We're slightly better in that line. or slightly better. So takes. That's okay. And then if queen takes, I like that queen move. And boom, there's mate. Okay, we worked out it all the way to mate. Good work, guys. You guys got any questions on that? You guys have any questions? I'll give you guys a minute to think about it. Okay, I'll take that as a nope. Alrighty. Well, guys, you know what? We did good. A couple of them we missed. One of them was we mistook. We didn't see the correct take. The other one we learned from. We learned from them all. Sometimes you just have to go back in the puzzle and look to see the move sequences to see kind of what their idea is, because that also help you to get better on certain move openings, and you'll get to say, that's the French defense or something, or the London, or the Rubinstein, or the Spanish opening, one of those, or the Banco, or Venice, all those openings. So you have to just do that. Keep moving forward. That's the whole thing. Remember, knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do. Tomorrow is the rest day for St. Louis, so the game's not going to be on tomorrow. It'll be on the next day. So just be, if you guys are interested, it's not tomorrow, it's the next day. And so we got to remember to keep moving forward. Keep studying. Tactics, they're hard. They push your mind to the limit, but guess what? You got to do it. You got to do it. And sometimes fewer words are many inside of wise advice. People are like, just tell me more. And sometimes silence is the greatest wisdom that I've learned. especially when you're thinking and you're like, oh, I blundered a piece. Sometimes you have to take your thoughts, bring them together, and then focus them down. And so that's what we'll do. And we got to do that, guys. And remember, we're like the one, that person that came in, hung up their coat, hung up their hat, and sat down and did the thing that couldn't be done. We did, guys. So congrats on another great night of studies. So keep pushing forward. Don't stop. And you know what? Like coal, under pressure, coal becomes a diamond. And we will become diamonds. Okay. I'll leave you with that thought. As Wesley So says, through the Lord Jesus. As I say, God bless. And I'll see you guys next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, and evening, guys. And Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow, and we'll go over some more studies, some more games and puzzles, and keep getting better. Remember, do your tactics and study. Great job tonight, guys. Keep doing good. Bye-bye. Be blessed. And I'll see you tomorrow.